What's going on? What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Real Man Group podcast. I am your host, Mr. Gray, and I'm so happy to be here. This is episode 3. Wow, it's like it was yesterday. Just yesterday was episode number 1. But this is a very interesting topic because now we're going to teach the viewers and the listeners financial literacy. We will be touching on wills and trust and things to do with your money and even dibble and dabble in life insurance. But before we go into that, let me just shout out our sponsors. This episode is sponsored by
Law Chica. We're a law firm based in New York.
All right. What type of law do you practice?
We're general practice. We practice real estate, family law, business formation, estate planning, and probate.
Yes. Also, shout out to Shalissa with this whip body butter. Black tea cashmere. It smells phenomenal. I would love to put some on, but this is a Real Man Group podcast, so I'm going to give it to our special guest.
Thank you.
Try that on. Smells good. Hey, listen, don't fall in love when you smell that.
Delicious.
I'll take it.
Yes. So listen, right into it. I mean, it's this topic is about financial literacy and being able to understand what it is and what it takes. Oh, that smells good.
It really does.
Can I try? Just give me a little bit.
But it's my gift.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. There we go. Sharing is caring. You know that.
It
Want some,
does.
Sean?
Listen, if I could reach that far, I would.
I got you.
There we go.
Shalissa, we loving this. This is
Yes.
smelling phenomenal.
And it rubs on really good.
Listen, thank you for this. Listen, we will put information at the end of this episode on where you can get
That is
this.
smooth.
Black tea cashmere.
Right.
Incredible. Thank you for that. So financial literacy. Let's start off. Why is financial literacy important? But introduce yourself.
All right.
So start with the left. Who we got over here?
So my name is Lashika Lewis. I own a law firm named Law Chica. We're a virtual firm based in New York, more specifically Wine-ish, New York, and we are general practice. And one of our areas is estate planning, which goes hand in hand with financial literacy.
Yes. Thank you for being here. Let's give a round of applause. Thank you for being here. This is not your first time in the Real Man Group. You are probably the only woman that is allowed in this digital man cave that we have created. But, I mean, through your insight and your information, I mean, you're always welcome. The door is always open to you. Let's go to the right. We have a new guest on this show. Let's see what he has to say. Introduce yourself to the viewers and the listeners.
All right. So I'm Sean Owen. I work with TQE Financial as my equity and insurance side of my life. It's really called the quintessential experience, where we're a full financial firm. Whatever you need as far as your financial expectations, we can help lead you toward that next path. Our motto is putting people first, and we stand by that.
Great. And here at the Real Men Group, we put our people first as well. And this is the reason why this segment was created, because we try to listen to what our members want, what they need in order for them to become better versions of themselves. So we do real topics with real men to generate real results. So one of the issues that we are having amongst the group members is that, there's mental health, okay? Mental health. There's so many things that fall under the mental health umbrella. And one of the things is finances, okay? Finances break up relationships. It breaks up marriages, alongside of communication as well. So me being the founder and the admin of the Facebook group, for those who are just viewing, it's my job and it's my responsibility to give our members the tools that they need for them to better their mental health and also better their financial situations.
Okay.
So this is the reason why we're here today.
All right.
So without further ado, for those who don't know, what is a will?
A will is a document that's created before you die, and it governs how your estate will be distributed once you pass away.
Okay. So now, do you have anything to say about that?
No, she's on point. It's something that you create as a document and it becomes a legally binding thing once your time comes, which we're all promised to not be here one day.
Right. They say there's two things that's always promised. That's death and taxes. That's something that
We can avoid one of those.
yes, and that's good. It's good that you said we can avoid one of those, and that's something that we're going to really dig into. So, a will is that something that's created? When should you create a will?
Immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately.
As soon as you have assets.
Okay. What is considered to be assets?
You want to give that off?
Yeah. Real property,
Okay.
investments, if you have a bank account, if you have prized possessions like collectibles,
Okay.
anything that's tangible that's of value to you. It could even be a china set. That's an asset too, depending on what it's valued at.
Right. You have anything to say on that?
She has 100. Listen, I think we're going to go hand in hand. I'm almost going to be her. She's going to be the quarterback of this.
Hey, listen, I think this is the first time to all the viewers and listeners that a man and a woman are in agreement and they both agree. So I'm going to drop a bomb to that. So listen, I mean, I really want you guys to really dig into it because those who are watching this episode or even listening to this episode,
Okay.
we have to make it so that they fully understand what it is, how to do it, and what's important.
So can I start on one end?
No,
over
go
here?
right ahead.
So I love how you started the whole premise off saying mental health.
Yes.
Finance is 100% emotional.
Yes.
And what I mean by that, you were given a model of how you see finances to be. Whether you know it or not, your upbringing, your circles, your ambitions.
Yes.
How much of that is based on you trying to think about a wish and a hope? Or how much of it is based on what you were taught by other people?
Yes.
So your way you're going to see finance is going to be based on, well, I want to be a millionaire, and some people do whatever it takes, legal or not.
Yes.
Some people may see it as, I have a specific expectation of life, and I want to live in the woods. So let me take what I can to live to the woods.
Right.
They don't see finance any other way than that.
Absolutely.
But then secondary to that, being in an emotional situation here, all finance is a tool. There is no difference between you and someone who swings a hammer. That tool called money is your hammer. You have two options with that, and there are no others. You either build or destroy with it.
Can I drop a bomb on that?
Go for it. You are in control of how it happens.
Right.
You watch any person who's a carpenter, and you can see them make beauty or make an absolute mess of it. Your choice of how you want to do it. Are you going to educate yourself to do it well and build a house or just build a frame?
Right.
Are you going to put yourself in a position where you're going to be breaking windows or destroying wood? The tool is there.
Right.
How do you want to utilize it?
Absolutely. And speaking of that tool, you said anything that has value, right? So you can be a dog breeder that's breeding, I think everyone knows someone who's breeding these bullies and these dogs at this point, right? That's considered to be assets, right?
Yes.
That's considered to be assets. So anything of value. So let's say someone, someone who loved their car so much,
Yes.
right? These are the things that should actually be put inside of a will. Where, who, how I want things to be distributed, right?
Yep.
Even our videographer, shout out to Biggie, because none of this would be possible without him. He valued his cameras, right? That's real property for him. What should he do with that while he's alive?
Well, while he's alive, he should decide who he wants that property to go to. In addition to of things of value, a will can also decide, all right, so we are humans, right?
Yes.
When we pass away, our estate becomes like in a business, right?
Yes.
So you write a will because that is your operating agreement. That's how you want your estate to be planned out and how you want it to operate it once you're no longer here calling the shots.
Right.
So most of the times you start a will by having an executor. An executor is your CEO. They're going to run the game plan. They're going to say who should get what, when they should get it, according to your wishes. In addition, you can also have your plans of if you have children or a pet, how do you want those children to be treated? If you're the only surviving parent for your child, you may want your child to go with the grandmother. Which grandmother, though? You can put that in the will. You may want Aunt Sally not to be at your funeral. You can put that in the will too.
Right.
It's literally your last wishes on how you want the rest of your afterlife to be dictated.
You know what's interesting? What's interesting to me is that, family, either they come together during holidays. You got Thanksgiving, right? If it's not Thanksgiving, for whatever reason, Big Mama's not around, Grandpa's not around, then you only see people during funerals, right?
Sad truth.
And typically what happens during the funeral and when someone passes away, it's like, who's getting what? No, I want this. I want that. I want grandma's pot set that she cooked my first collard greens in, or my macaroni and cheese in. I want her recipe book.
Ooh.
Come on, let's get real.
Trouble.
Let's get real.
My God.
So you got all these things that happens when someone passes away. And, if Big Mama, let's take Big Mama, for example, right? If Big Mama took the time to say, you know what, I want my cookbook to go to Loshika, all right? I want my pie set to go to Sean, and I want the house to go to Mr. Gray. Yes.
Oh, we got to make money off that food then.
Right?
Yeah.
So if she took the time to do that, it would be less. We all been through that tug of war, the tug of war battle. I have a very, very touchy topic for you guys. Okay. So what do you do when there's assets, children, and a wife? How do you evenly take care of all these parties involved?
That's a very deep one. Are
Let's
we
go.
talking about a wife these children were had with, or this is a second wife or a second person after the children?
It could be the person that you with. It could be my current wife right now.
So then,
I'm going to throw a little monkey wrench.
please do.
I want you to think about this for a second. Let's say I have a wife now, but I have kids from my previous wife. There's property involved and things of value.
Okay.
How do I handle this situation?
How old are these children?
These imaginary children. These are not Mr. Gray children.
but
so
it does-
let's
it makes
say,
a difference.
No,
It
that's good.
definitely
So
does.
let's say we got 112, 118, 126.
All right. That changed things a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, first, I will look at it as, all right, if they're a minor, automatically they're going to have a guardian appointed over whatever assets you leave them until
Okay.
they're of age. So I would think about what guardian would that be? Most times it's going to be the primary parent. So if
Right.
you were the parent, you passed away, they're not there, does your former wife have good, like if she's financially responsible?
Okay.
Because that's number one, because they're going to be the overseer of those assets. And no matter how much you say in your will, Dad doesn't want you to sell the house, the wife maybe want to be spiteful and like, no, I'm going to sell this house. And what happens? They're the overseer.
That's a really, really, really good good statement. And the reason why I say that is because you have a final will and a living will.
No,
No,
no.
Okay.
You just
Different
have
things.
one
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Because you know why? You know why I brought that up is because Google has became the encyclopedia of everyone's life. Google will diagnose you before you even go to a doctor.
I've been pregnant twice.
Right? There we go.
True story.
There we go. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I brought that up is because when you type in will, it comes up, what is a final will? A
It comes
living
up
will?
last will and testament.
There we go. There we go.
But Google can't hold a candle to my law degree.
There we
or
go.
License.
Amen to that. Drop a bomb of that. Okay. And thank you for your dedication to getting your law degree. It's very impressive. So now, my question to you guys is this. How important is a will to someone who feels like they don't have anything?
Here's one, if you don't mind me. Here's what's difficult for me. Who's telling you that you don't have anything of value? That's my first step. Because what you may not consider value, what's the expression? One man's trash is another man's treasure.
Absolutely.
So the things that you've put your side in your life, that you've purchased, that you've inherited, that you've found on the street, it has some placement of value somewhere in this world. So if you think it's going to have a longevity of life in itself, let's say it's a couch.
Right.
You know how many resellers exist in this world?
It's interesting. That's a really good point.
This is not a plug, so we're not talking about TJ Maxx, but let's talk about them anyway. I remember I went to the TJ Maxx in Wall Street. There was a folding chair that was rusted. They repainted it blue. It can barely open. But they're reselling it.
Yeah.
Someone found value in this.
Yeah.
So my point is this. There is not a reason why you shouldn't have a will at some point. Because, unless you could please correct me if I'm wrong at any point here, you can reevaluate that will and have it rewritten to what your next step in life is whenever you're going to start moving up and what you consider maybe your next success of that what it may be.
Yep.
So you have a car right now. Yeah, it's to the financial people a depreciating asset, but after
Right.
20 years, it becomes an antique. So why not put that in your will for now?
Interesting. So I got a question for you. So how often should you update your will? Who is the holder of your will? Who is the holder of the will? Because I know a lot of people. Are you married?
Yes, I am.
Are you married?
No.
Okay. Who's the holder of your will, if you don't mind me asking?
I am.
You are. Okay. So how would your will hit the stage when it's supposed to?
It's in a lockbox that my spouse has access to currently.
Okay. So I don't mean to laugh.
That's
because
okay.
I'm laughing because technically she has the will.
In all legality, that would be true.
Right. And I please excuse me for laughing.
No, that's okay.
And the reason why I laughed is because that's the point that I was going to make. It was almost like a bell. A light just went off.
Let me put a secondary to that.
Go ahead.
I have a physical version, and I've also scanned it.
Good. So, from a legal standpoint, listen, we all know someone that is shady, that has the ability to do some shady, right? How could you protect yourself? Because here's the thing. You can create a will with you and your wife, or even your significant other. If there's no marriage, there's no you're not legally binded to this person.
I don't advise of that.
But you know what? It happens.
Yeah.
It happens. And it happens because, people make decisions based off love. I love you. I'm not going to leave you with anything. Right?
Now, are we talking love, lust, or like?
Listen, I'm going to get there.
Okay.
Let me get there. So you make all these permanent decisions based off of temporary emotions. So now I create this will. You my rider. You was with me shooting in the gym. Right? I'm going to put you in my will.
Okay.
But also who's in my will is not just you, it's my kids too.
Okay.
Okay? That lockbox that holds your will, she has the key. How could we protect what we want to happen when we are dead and gone?
You can also file your will with the local county clerk's office in your county. But the biggest thing is it'll be public record. But wills are public records.
Okay. So you're saying to the viewers and listeners, if you're okay, which you have no choice but to be okay because wills are public information, you should file this will. You should file it. Because, listen, I done seen the prettiest people do the ugliest things, especially when it comes down to money and property. And, it's like if it's $1,000 left on the table, who's going to take the $1,000? And listen, to all the viewers and listeners, listen, you may not think this is important. I'm going to look in the camera for a second. You may not think this is important, but let me just explain one thing to you. When you are dead and gone, you have no control as to what happened to everything that you have loved, that you have built your entire existence. If you are collecting Pokemon cards to cars, antiques, and even if you have a really crazy music collection, you want to be able to know that this is going to go to the right person at the right time. And even if you don't have anybody, you can donate it to a charity. Right? Am I right or wrong?
Oh,
You're
are
right.
ahead of the topic right now.
Listen.
I love it.
Thank you. You can do something with this before someone make a decision for you when you can't make the decision for yourself. So it's very important to plan. It's very important to plan. How do we create a will?
You go to an attorney, or you can do it yourself.
Okay.
But the biggest thing about doing it yourself, it doesn't mean that it's going to be legally sound or binding.
Mm-hmm.
So if you create it off of LegalZoom, they may be missing certain parts where a state is requiring it to be done so it can be valid. What I usually do is I will send my clients an intake form. They'll let me know how they want their assets distributed, what are their burial plans, and if they have kids, what they want to happen with that. I'll create the document and I'll ask them, do you have 2 witnesses who you trust that'll be around so when this will is probated, we can go to them to get signature affidavits and verification. Sometimes they don't. So I'll get my close family members who I know, 9 times out of 10, I'll use my mother or my cousin because I know if anything happens to them, I can get their death certificate to verify, that it was them, or I can get them to sign. I know I'm going to always be in contact with them. A lot of times people will use LegalZoom again, and then they'll have someone at the notary office, and they'll be the witnesses. And I'm having an issue now because one of the witnesses they left on bad terms from that office, and the employer doesn't want to reach out to the witness.
Oh, Lord.
So now the client, who isn't even alive anymore, their family is stuck with, all right, well, let me reach out to her and see if she'll answer.
You know, I find it very interesting that we put the trust in people that shouldn't have all this trust and power. And the reason why I asked you guys that question was because, we have to be able to protect and expect the unexpected. Let me share something with you. My father passed away a few months ago.
Sorry to hear that.
It's fine. I was able to have peace with him, right? And he left all his insurance policy to his wife, right? I didn't feel no type of way about that because she was there throughout when he was sick, and she was there to better him, to make him a better person. But at some point, I'm the oldest of 8. At some point, I had to step in and be like, hey, listen, this is what Pops wanted. This wasn't altered. He wanted to be cremated. He wanted direct cremation. He didn't even want a ceremony. He didn't want no memorial. He didn't want anything. But that man told me out of his mouth, and me being the oldest, I'm like, whoa. He's like, yo, I need you to handle this. So to me, that was a will. To me, I took that as like it was notarized.
A final wish.
It was a final wish for me. So you actually said my next question is, okay, final wishes. Do they exist? Could they exist? Could they exist?
So yes, they exist, but will they be acknowledged by a court of law if they're done validly, correctly? He could have told you on his deathbed that he wanted he's dead. But Luther Vandross to sing at his funeral or something. Right?
Oh, no, she didn't.
Right? But what if in his will he had, I'll say someone from my generation, Chris Brown.
Okay.
Well, you'll say, well, hey, when Dad was on the deathbed at 909, he said Luther Vandross, but the court is saying, well, the will says Chris Brown.
Right.
And they're going to go off what was the legally binding document.
Right.
Unless if you change it.
Right. Okay. So now that we got wills, I feel like there's a will. Oh, that's good.
You're a will.
Right?
Here we go.
Okay. There's a will, and there's a tire. Okay. And the tire is a trust. Okay. They actually roll together. Do they?
They don't necessarily have to.
But they thank you.
Okay. Let's go. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Girl, let's keep going. We got
it. Sometimes you don't even need any of those documents if you have a smart lawyer that can show you to go around them.
And who is this smart lawyer?
Law Chica.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, I look at it this way. I don't care if you're going to an unemployment hearing, child support, a divorce, business. You should always have attorney involved with every aspect of that. And we have such an incredible attorney here that can help you guys with all that stuff. Sorry for the shameless plug, but this woman deserves it. So, okay, so now let's talk about trust. We spoke about wills. I grew up in an era where a lot of my family members wrote on a piece of paper and put it in a safety box. This is what I want. I want my baseball collection to go to my grandson. I want my dog to go to Julio in the bodega because he gave me extra bologna. I want my grandson to have this house. Signed, date, sealed, titled, trust, will. How legit is that?
Not at all.
That's not a trust.
Yeah.
That's
not a
you
will
trying
either.
to create once again, your last wishes.
Okay. But you know what? We are here to talk about those who are educated. We are talking to those who don't know the difference between a will and a trust. Let's go.
So if you do it that way, where you put it in a lockbox, what you're doing is you're dying intestate. You're dying without a will. You're dying without a trust. And what the government is going to do is they're going to apply it to the state intestate rules. So that means that all of your heirs will have to divide those assets equally amongst each other. If you have a wife, they'll get the first $50,000 plus half of the estate, or a husband, and then they'll split the rest of the estate equally amongst the kids. Now, if you die without a kids, your next runner-up are your parents. If you die without parents or a spouse, then your next runner-up are your siblings, and so on and so on.
Now, let's keep in mind,
Let's go.
the original traditional idea of a trust is to help minimize taxes. That's its purpose in the end. There are other ways you can go about using it, but when someone's looking for that trust, that again, what you explained was a hopeful will.
That's right.
That's what that was.
Okay.
The trust is breaking down. How can we make sure the money that will be coming over the years be protected?
Absolutely.
So it can protect you in your lifetime living and post-mortem, meaning when you die. What are you trying to protect and how are you trying to protect it?
So let me just share something with you guys. Lord Shika, we started with one episode 1, and it led to episode what? 2. This is exactly what's going to happen here. And the reason why is because we spoke about examples. We spoke about scenarios, right? We spoke about the difference between writing on a piece of paper and putting in a lockbox versus speaking to Lord Sheikah and say, hey, listen, I need you to do my will. Speaking of wills, you will be doing my will soon. Okay? You know, it's so much ground to cover in so little time. And the reason why I say that is because you guys have so much information to give, because we didn't even get into what. We spoke about how. We need to speak about doing. Okay? How do we do it? Right? So let's go into that. Trust. We spoke about the identity of what a will is. What is a trust?
Again, the same exact purpose once again is to help mitigate or to avoid or to circumvent, go around the taxation issues.
Probate.
Thank you.
Yes. So guess what? I'm going to speak for the people. I feel like Malcolm X. I feel like Martin Luther King at this point. Everybody's not making 7 figures, 6 figures.
But why do you have to?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So now you have someone who's making $35,000. And they watching this video. I only make $35,000. Yes, and they're talking about trust and wills. I'm barely making it. I'm working paycheck to paycheck. Help me understand that. So help the viewers and the listeners at this point understand that $35,000 can do what?
It can change your life.
Talk about it.
I want to give a story first. One of my really good friends, his grandfather never made more than $40,000 his entire working life. Not once, not even by accident, not winning a lotto and getting an extra this 1 year. Nothing. He had multiple children, plenty of grandchildren, and this man managed And I know we're talking about different times when things weren't in the same cost basis as it is today, but doesn't change the whole situation. He managed to buy a home in New York, managed to buy a home in Puerto Rico, managed to buy investment property in Florida while taking care of his wife who did not work and trying to support his family. That man utilized every dollar possible for a long-term purpose. Your dollar that you make doesn't matter. What matters is what comes away from those dollars.
Talk about it.
How do you want to utilize that money? And are you telling your money where to go? Or are your emotions dictating where you want it to be?
You know what? I think you made a statement. Actually, you did make a statement that it's emotional, right? And within the men's group that we have on Facebook, you can find us if you're just now logging on. Everything that I post is strategically planned. I posted a few days ago. How do you measure success?
Oh, I love that question.
Okay. And I'm reading everybody's comments. Those in the group, I do read the comments. And I was reading the comments, and it was like, some was financial, some was knocking out, their to-do list and their goals and achieving that, right? Mm-hmm. You know how I define success? How? When I'm dead. When I'm dead.
The legacy you leave.
Listen, because at the end of the day, it's who I touch along the way. It's the legacy that I create along the way. And while I'm creating this legacy, not only am I attempting, but I am creating generational wealth for my kids and my kids' kids. Now, here's the thing. I tell everybody, I'm not a specialist. I'm not certified in any of these things. I'm just a student of the game.
Okay.
So I'm learning, just like everyone else is learning. Listen to this. And there's things that I should have done a long time ago. We had conversations off the air about these things. But you know what? It's never too late to learn. And it's never too late to make these decisions and to do the things that you need to do for you to achieve your goals.
Can I interject with that too?
Go right ahead.
Listen, one of the best things I've heard when I was a child in high school, the best time to plant a tree is when you're 18. The second best time is today.
Listen. I mean, I can count 15 to 2,500 mistakes that I made, right? I missed 1 million financial opportunities. But guess what?
What?
It stops here. It stops right here. I'm going to have you as my trusty advisor. And I advise everyone that's in this group to utilize your members and your resources. Because they're not here for anything but just to give us the information that we need for us to be better versions of ourselves. Utilize them. And right about now, our incredible videographer is putting their contact information right here, right next to them. Because right here is where you're going to find as much information that you need for you to be better versions of yourselves. Right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. $35,000, $20 an hour can be what in 50 years if they follow your tools?
If you play your game smart, you will see six figures.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean you can't live a life still.
And you stand on that.
I do.
You hear that? He stands on that.
I do.
So that information that popped up on the screen a few minutes ago, this man is standing on that. What about you?
Well, I think we forget about us being heirs. You have the $35,000, but if your mother owns a house and you're the only child, if she doesn't write you out the will and she doesn't create a will, you're inheriting that asset. So we need to also think about what we have planned given to us and what we can make in the future.
Absolutely. Okay. We touch wills. We talk trust. Let's talk debt.
Oh, I love this topic.
Okay. Let's talk that. Let's talk that. And the reason why I brought that up is because it's important, because you could be $1 million. You could be millionaire but you are $10 million in debt. You can be a thousandaire, $5,000 in debt. You can have a $2.2 million insurance policy. You can have a $10 million policy. What your life is like, or your life that you're leaving for your loved ones behind, what does that look like? $5,000 in debt, $10 million insurance policy.
Well, first things first is the debt collectors that are going to come and you're going to get the money.
Okay.
You ever seen that episode of The Parkers?
Tell me about
where
that.
Professor Ogilvy, I think he inherited $10 million, and then the uncle was $99.9 in debt, and he was only left with $1 after he had maxed out all his credit cards.
What was his name, Ogilvy?
I mean, Professor Ogilvy.
That's the one with the nice fro, with
Yes.
the fresh line
Yeah,
up.
who Nikki was in love with.
Yeah, he had
Remember that episode?
a junior Steve Harvey hairline back in the day.
Yes,
I remember
he did.
that. Right?
Yes.
Right? All right, continue. Sorry, go ahead.
So, he found out about the inheritance. He was his uncle's only living heir. Before he even got the inheritance, he maxed out his credit card, chartered a yacht. And then when the estate was actually probated, he was left with $10 because the uncle owed debt. And the government's going to come after that. The debt collectors, when we probate a will, or if they don't have a will, when we probate someone's estate, literally I tell my clients, you have 7 months. Don't touch that money for 7 months, unless if you know there's no creditors coming. And that's what the state recommends that we tell our clients. Because they come. And if that money is spent, those heirs who got the assets, they'll be liable. Because yes, that's your money, your inheritance, but that was someone else's money. And those creditors have a first right.
So what do you do with someone? We're going to save this for episode 2.
Okay.
Part 2 of this. And the reason why is because, we need to be able to give our viewers and listeners some solid information so that they can make the right decisions at the right time. So, for the viewers and listeners, once again, please share with them where they can find you, what's your contact information, and what's your area of expertise. Starting with you, ladies first.
Okay. My name is Lashika Lewis. The name of my firm is Lawshika, LAWSHECA. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Google. We have a website. Right now, come to us for your estate planning needs. We help people with deciding what is the best tool for you. Sometimes you don't need a will. Sometimes you don't need a trust. Sometimes you just need a power of attorney and a deed transfer.
And those members within the Real Men's Group, you take care of them, right?
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
$50 off any service.
$50?
Oh, no, she didn't. Oh, yes, she did.
I still got to pay taxes, guys.
All right. But we're going to get into the taxes on part 2 of this because people need to understand. I always said, for me, just my own perception on how this thing works, is the middle class pay for everyone. And guess what? Part 2 of this episode, we're going to figure out how we're going to save some money on some taxes. Please share with the viewer and listeners where they can find you.
All right. So again, my name is Sean Owen. I'll give you a few details. I'll give you the number I use for all my clients, which is area code 631-623-0063. You can find me on Instagram under Sean, and we know there's many ways to spell Sean. SHAWNDOTDO on Instagram, and you can find me on LinkedIn under Sean Owen. Lastly, my website is tqefinancial.com.
Okay. And I think you missed the most important thing of it all.
You wouldn't let me get there.
Okay.
Come on, we got to talk about life insurance.
Okay. No.
What are you missing?
That's part 2. You forgot to tell the viewers and listeners that you are also a member of the Real Men Group.
That I am. And only because the real men are around here. That's why.
That's right. And for that, I'm going to drop a bomb to that. Did you know, do you guys see my face when I drop the bomb? Do you see that? Because it's disgusting. And it's real. So listen, such an incredible episode. I would love to have you guys back. You are a regular. You're like a piece of furniture in the Real Man Group.
There we go.
Right? You're a piece of furniture in the Real Man Group. But Sean, I really would like to have you back because I think that we have some stones that are unturned.
Okay.
And unturned for a really good reason, because I don't want to jam pack so much information in this little segment. I want to be able to give them in doses so people can actually take the information back and process it.
I like that.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to say to the viewer or listeners?
Be patient with yourself. Don't let social media fool you into what worlds really are like, because it takes time. Mistakes are the best thing that can ever happen to you because they're lessons you didn't know you needed. Deal with us all, and we'll make sure you're in the best place possible.
Drop a bomb to that?
Yeah.
That's my bomb face. I'm going to stick with that forever. What about
Trademark
you?
that. There we go.
Yeah.
Lashika,
Listen.
she's going to need you for
Exactly.
this one.
What about you?
Be honest with your lawyer. The only way we can help you to the best of your ability if you let us know what we need to know. So be honest. If you have assets, whether they're hidden or you don't want anyone to know about it, let us know. We'll show you how to best protect your assets.
Listen, at the end of the day, we are in, you know what Jay-Z said? Jay-Z said this shit the best. Excuse me. Make sure you beep that out. My trusty videographer. We don't want nobody feeling some type of way about this. He knows how to move in a room full of
Bosses.
vultures.
Oh, see?
It's all right.
Listen,
It's okay.
We're going to back you up. We
Listen,
got you.
it's okay. We got you. We got you. Listen, this is the Real Man's Group, so we should know what to say, what came after that.
I like the Jay-Z with Beyonce, so
All I
y'all
gotta
got
say is
that.
Okay.
We had that. We
Listen,
know.
we got that.
know.
Know how to move in a room full of vultures. And you know what? When you're dead and gone, you don't know who the vultures are. Okay? These vultures are around you every day, and you don't even know that they are. So I think it's in your best interest to make sure you get your legal stuff together, do the proper documentation, get with the professionals, and make sure that you are protected. Okay? Not just you, but your loved ones.
Yep.
So I'm about to wrap this up. This was an incredible episode.
Yes, it was.
Can I add to that?
No.
It's important
Could
because
you add to it? Are you kidding me?
just
Drop
a
a
little
bomb
bit.
of that. Bomb face. Bomb face. Go ahead.
But it's important because once you're dead, you have no say. Your
That's right.
will, your trust, how you leave your plans, that's your say. Once you're passed away, you have no say.
You have no
So you
say.
have to do it before you die.
Listen, can I put in my will who I want to carry my casket?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yes, that's a yes.
This is a book. You're the author. It's going to be read one day.
That's right.
So who are you big your audience to? Just like real books.
Guess what?
All authors know their audience first.
Listen, viewers, listeners, all good things come to an end. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you tune in to part 2 of this episode. So much information. Thank you for logging on. Thank you for viewing the Real Man Group podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Gray. I'm so happy to be here. Take it easy.